Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is the bonus video of HTML. Bonus because I forgot the form element. It wasn't in the guide I was following, but is quite important, quite very important. So I will make this video too. The form element is a wrapper where input data from the user gets stored, and then they are sent to a database with a method. So form is the first keyword that we're going to talk about, and is the largest. It starts at the beginning of the body and ends at the end of the body, theoretically, at least here. And it takes two attributes: action, which stands for in this case I wrote my database.php. Why? Because all the input data that we are going to take will be submitted to a database, a PHP database, and so this is what action does. We won't discuss it more in details because we then talk about PHP. And method is how the data will be passed through the server. For example, now I just open it. Maybe you didn't understand what is the toolbox, and this is the toolbox. Once you click submit, if you use the method first, I forgot, sorry. First can be post, can be get, or post. The get method submits the forms in a format that seems to be like this one. You probably have saw it multiple times, and data are visible from the URL, and some ethical hackers can try to modify it. Like they modify the name, they put some JavaScript code to be executed after, something like this. So it's less secure in general. In post requests are doesn't show up. It's just it gets just passed without this additional part of the URL, and something more, of course, is just a simplification, a brief explanation. We won't talk about this. In fact, this is the last thing we are going to talk about: action and methods. And we move into what's inside form. So the most important part is this one. What you see first is this one, which is called the field set, and it delimits the boxes. And every field set has a legend, which is its name. So in this case, we have this box with its name. I designed this page with only a box, but you can have multiple field sets. For example, this one, which is in Italian. I didn't want to show it to you, but as you see here, we have three field sets: 1, 2, and 3, with their own pages inside and with their own legends, so their own names. Anyway, here legend is user detail, and of course then it starts with all the other things, which is what it's actually got executed. So the most important is input is the most important, because there are a lot of type of input. Now we're going to talk about the text input. So input type text with the name equal to, let's not say test because it's a little confusing, so I'm going to use an Italian word, which is prova, which stands for test, and then ID, which we just skip it for now, and let's see what it does. And here it comes a toolbar, So this is what it does. And then if you want to give it a name, you use label with for, and you type the name of the input. So the input has a name, and you write the name on the input, and then you give the input a name. Anyway, okay, so this is it, and this is not as this one, not as good looking as this one, because there isn't CSS on it. If you use CSS, this becomes as this one. You can do it with many different styles, etc, etc. Then let's move on. Let's see a bigger structure, which is select. So select is a multiple a box where that gives you multiple options. It has an ID and a name, okay, and then under it we have option, value, answer one, etc, etc. This value is for us, is for our database, and this one is for the user, is what is going to be shown. Let's see the select bar. This one is the select bar. So as you see, you can write I don't know what you could do it for. Anyway, if you want to create a select box, you place it empty, the value, so the database knows that this is empty, there has no value, and then you write the select, and then you open it. Well, let's open it again, and here it is. Then you have your select, and then your different options. Okay. And one last thing, it has an attribute which is multiple, which can makes you select more than one option. Very simple. Let's not discuss it further. Okay, so now let's see some other areas where you can type. This is text area, and let's remove this part because I don't want to go deeper. Not deeper. It's just it just fixes the toolbox. You see now I can slide it as much as I want. If you edit it, it becomes thick, or you can give it other properties, of course, and then you can edit it as you want. This is used when you want the user to write a description of himself, for example, no? And you couldn't give an input box like this one. You must give it a text area. So this is what is meant for, and that's it. And now let's see another one. Button is just a button, so more simple than this. You just write hello, and here is the button, which is in blue because of CSS. Otherwise it wouldn't be so beautiful. Let me close something. And okay, so we have seen these ones. Let's see the data list option. Let's find it out. I hope I have it. Okay, I don't have it right now, so I'll just stop the video, craft it, and come back. Okay, sorry. So this is the data list. Data list stands. It starts with label, label for custom option is just like select, but you can type. Let's see it immediately. You can type what you want, and there is option 1, option 2, option 3 suggested. So here you have option 1, option 2, option 3, and you can write whatever you want. For example, it would be a name, maybe, no? You Maria, and then you give the suggested name that are most picked generally. And then of course it is still a toolbox, so it has its input type, which is text. It has ID, name, and list option. Okay, some other things, but this is its use case. This is its use case, and so okay. I want to show you some other input text. Input. Since now we have just type text. Now let's see type password, which is exactly what you think it is. If you try to see, as you see, it blocks everything, and yes, very common for passwords. I would say that is the only one used, and okay, input type password shown. Then we have other ones. I have written it here, I hope. Yes. So input type text, password, submit, which is the last button, no? Reset to reset, radio box, which is this one. Radio box gives you just one choice. This is a radio box, so you can choose gender, you can choose male, you can choose female. This was male, female, other. I crafted bad, but anyway, you can choose one or not the other. This is the point of a radio box. This is a checkbox where you can choose whatever. You can choose even all three or just two of the three. This is the difference between the two. Color, date, email, file, etc. All other kind of type of input that can happen. Yes, maybe date. The date is something that can be tricky. This is if you write input date, this shows up. Okay, I want to show you it in the code, even input type date, ID date, birth date. This is the one, and it's really a toolbox where you can. It's quite simple to craft it. I think less complicated than someone thinks at the beginning. Then let's move on with the attributes of input. Okay, now is going to be a little funny. Okay, first is checked. The first one is checked, which means let's see if I find one. No, I make one with check and explain it. 1 second. So this is what I wrote. Basically, it stands that the only thing that it does is that once we come here, this subscribe to the newsletter is already checked. As default is checked, And then here I wrote input type checkbox, ID subscribe, etc. So there is even okay, sorry. Yes, there is this checkbox that is already checked because of the checked attribute. Then we have disabled, which I don't think I have it already, but it's very simple. For example, here input for text, input for surname, input, okay, this one is disabled, sorry, is disabled. So what if I open this and I try to type it? I can't, you can't see it, but I'm trying to type and you can't type it because the attribute disabled. This is generally used when, for example, you have two options. One is, I don't know, you are an individual or you are a business. If you are a business, then you don't have to write something, or you have to write something else, and so it's disabled. Read only is another story. It appears the same because read only, maybe you have it or not, but you would see exactly the same thing that is activated, but you can't type it. But for the backend is different. Then we have required, which is everywhere required. So required means that you cannot submit the text unless the input box is filled. So for example, let's see what it does if I try to submit an empty box. Please fill this field. Then I filled it. Then you fill this one, is you can't fill it, etc. Required, it does this thing. And yes, another thing that I didn't show you because it's linked with the same thing is the input type email. I left it behind, and what this does is as input required, the email here is required, but it's not the only thing. If you have an email that is required, for example, you cannot write like this. Let's see if this is accepted, but I think there is other required options. And as you see, it says please include this one, and he wants this one. I try this again, and he wants another part following from here. Then I think it's completed because it's not so sharp. And it is completed, but there isn't any backend behind. So yes, it has these requirements, these two requirements. It can have more. For example, it must be .com or .something, or of course even for passwords, first names, all the policies that it can have. Of course, my simple web page is not so complicated, but they exist. And one last thing I want to show you are the placeholders. Placeholder, which is quite tricky. Let's make a placeholder for input type email. Sorry. Placeholder equal to email, write an email, no? Let's see it now. Okay, and this is a placeholder. This is a placeholder which is for example, quite different from required value. I just craft it and then show it to you is better. Okay, sorry. So this is what I wanted to show you. Not I wrote required value, but it's only value. And for example, this one, this value equal to Marco, and let's I wrote here. I open this, and it comes already a name, no? Which is not like a placeholder. You can actually, it was here and it was this one, no? And it comes and you can edit it and use it, etc. Placeholder is like an invisible name in between. There are two different things, and both are editable with these attributes. And I think we finished for real today. So I hope this video has shown you enough about this form. And yes, maybe I will paste some exercises as a next video, but that's it for now. I hope you enjoyed and that you subscribed to my channel. Thank you very much.